everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Life Abroad Panama. Today, we'll be featuring a very special guest, Vanessa from VGIRL TV. Many of you might know her as a Panamanian YouTuber. She's also a business owner, and she has many events coming up very soon that you'll hear more about in this podcast episode. Stay tuned because we have a juicy episode on the way for you. Facing immigration questions or business legalities, our lawyers are here to help you. We make it easy to get the legal advice you need when you need it. Hello, Vanessa. Thank you so much for joining us on Life Abroad Panama. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming here. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is what's on everyone's mind. Out of all the places in the world, why Panama? What has brought you to Panama? Can you tell me a bit about that?
All right. So my story, which is what I tell everybody, is a little bit different from most people that are coming here. To make a long story short, I was working in corporate America, and a situation arose, and I was just like, "F this."
I need to get out of here.
I need to get out of here. My parents at the time, they had opened up a business already, which is a beauty supply store. The first beauty supply store ever in Panama that is for people of color, people with textured hair, owned by a Panamanian, especially a Panamanian from Colon. And so we were the first to ever do that. And they wanted to expand. So the opportunity arose for me to come to Panama to help them expand on the business.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. On top of that, when I left, I don't know if you know who Trayvon Martin is, but in America, there was a case with a young teenager that was Black that was in Miami in a gated community where he was visiting his father.
Yeah.
And he ended up being gunned down, innocent. And the person who did the killing got off. And when I seen that, I was just like, wow, this is the climate of America. I have a young Black boy, son, and I wanted to give my son the opportunity at a normal life where he wasn't judged because of the color of his skin.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say that racism does not exist in Panama, because racism exists everywhere in the world. But there's something different about Panama when it comes to it. It's here in Panama, a lot of people are mixed.
Yeah.
This is more of a, I wouldn't say racist, but it's a classist country.
Okay.
Right? So, you know, people may disagree with me, but I have my own opinion.
Yeah.
I have not experienced racism here. My son has not experienced racism either in school, right? So it was that, and then it's also school shootings and not feeling like if I sent my son to school, is he going to come back?
Yeah.
You know? And so those are a lot of this. That was the main reason why I came to Panama, because number one, the opportunity would have been a lot easier for me because I am Panamanian.
Yeah.
And I already had a situation set up. I already had an ID, you know, my cellular. So there was things that would have just been a lot easier for me versus if I would have went to any other country. And when I came here, this was not a popular thing. When I left, people were saying like, why would you leave America to go to Panama? So now that I see a lot of people, especially younger people, coming to Panama, I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. But when I left, that was not a popular thing. And people were like, oh, she's going to come back. So in a nutshell, that's the real reason why I ended up here in Panama versus any place else. I have family here, and it just made sense for me to come here.
So definitely I can see that your experience in America has really helped, not just giving you the reason of like, okay, maybe that place that I was in before is not the place that I see myself in the future and for my son. But also I can see that it's helped shape your thoughts and who you are as a person and the decisions you make in life. Because it's so interesting that you say to me that you've not experienced like that racism in America in Panama, whereas you can talk to like the next American and they can tell you like stories of back home, or even people from the UK, they can tell you their experiences. So it's so interesting that you're saying that, because that might be at the top of a lot of people's minds when they're thinking about coming to a new place. Like, how will people treat me here? What is the climate like there? How are the situations there? Even things like hearing you say about school shootings. For me, that's a foreign concept, but for you, that was reality. And that was part of one of the reasons why you came, and hearing that you have more of a safe space in Panama. It's a bit sad, really, but that's the truth for a lot of people, and for you, unfortunately. Um, you also mentioned that you had a business in Panama. You helped your family build up a business in Panama. Can you tell me more about that, and how long ago was that as well?
Before I get into this, I want to tell you something.
Okay.
Touch back on this. The first time I experienced racism in America, I was in second grade.
So
I
what
was
age is that?
7 years old.
7. And you can remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday. We were in the park, and a white man was driving in a car, and he screamed out, "F you, you little."
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And that always
Stuck at the back of your head.
And
Yeah.
I didn't want that for my son.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very important to just put that out there when I talk about the level of racism.
That's how extreme it is. Yeah.
Because people are going to say, well, in Panama, there's racism. My son hasn't experienced it.
Yeah.
And he's 14 now. But to touch on the topic of the business, my parents, remember when 9/11 happened? I don't know.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
When 9/11 happened, my mom was working on Wall Street. And that was
Wall Street.
Wall
Okay,
Street.
wow.
That's like the middle of the
Of everything. Yeah,
financial.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
She ended up losing her job because of the World Trade Center, and also her boss was doing illegal trading. So everybody that was under her, even though she wasn't doing anything wrong, she was taking orders from her boss.
Yeah.
Everyone ended up getting fired.
Yeah.
Because of her age, and she did not go to college. Now we reached to a generation, a new part of life where people were graduating college, more people were graduating college, and now the companies that are hiring, they wouldn't want to pay her the amount of money that she's worth when you can pay a college graduate way less money.
Yeah.
So she was having a hard time finding a job.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom having to take a job, mind you, getting paid $80,000 a year at that time, that was a lot, to taking a job paying you $6 an hour.
That's vastly different.
Very much so. And my mom is very much the type of person, like, I'm just like my mom.
Yeah.
We're like hustlers, we're go-getters, we're going to try to figure it out. And my dad was like, why does it make any sense for you to do this? Like, you're not making any money. She's like, well, something is better than nothing. And so she decided, first they were going to go to Florida. And she took out money from her 401k at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And they were going to open up a beauty supply store in Florida. Now, that whole situation is a whole nother situation.
Sorry.
Because the beauty supply business for Black people is very difficult for them to get into, because they sell you the things at much higher prices if you are in America.
Yeah.
But if you are in another country, you get it for a better price. So
Yeah.
it only made sense to open up a beauty supply store in another country versus opening it.
So her sights were set somewhere else then, yeah.
Right, at first. And so they decided, well, we're Panamanian, of course, and things would be a lot easier if I just go back to my country. And that's the reason why they opened up the business here in Panama, because
Yeah.
they were Panamanian. Things were just, it just worked itself out for us to open the business here.
Yeah, yeah.
So she started with one store, very small store in San Miguelito, which is the hood.
I know San Miguelito. I know.
But I love my peoples there. And then as the store was growing and growing, they decided to open up another store, which was in Los Pueblos. But
Okay.
at the time, it was in Los Pueblos dos Mil, which is part of like Juan Diaz area. And
is this in the city?
This is all in the city. And then started growing because we were the first to sell hair products, extensions for Afro, kinky, and curly hair. That's what we specialized in. And then people felt comfortable coming to us because I have my hair Afro kinky, so I can give you the best advice. Versus you going to someone else that has no idea, and they're going to sell you whatever product. So we quickly became a household name in Panama. It was something that happened. We grew really, really fast.
Yeah.
And then from there, then they opened up another store in Colon, where they're from.
Yes, yeah.
Right? And then they opened up another store in Los Andes Mall. So yeah, that's the story pretty much on how we opened up the business here in Panama.
So interesting as well that you're saying about you touched on Colon.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Colon has a very like rich Black history.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of Caribbean settled down when they came from their home countries through building the canal, helping with that. There's a lot of people in Colon. So do you think that like as a Black business owner in Panama, that's like a prime location maybe to open up your business as a hair business, as there's like a big Black community there?
Yes and no. Yes, because there is a huge Black community, and no, because they have the Zona Libre. So this is one of the things that we're experiencing now, because at the time, not any and anybody could go into the Zona Libre.
Okay.
But now, any and anybody can go in the Zona Libre. So the thing is that a lot of times people, and I'm not saying that people are dumb, they're not really educated
Okay.
on the quality of merchandise.
Okay, yeah.
And so a lot of the stuff that certain people may sell in the Zona Libre is not quality.
Okay.
But people would just buy it because it's cheaper.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I say yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's a lot of Black people. No, because you could go into the Zona Libre and get merchandise for a lot cheaper, even though the quality is poor.
Okay, I see. So would you say that if you wanted to come and start a business here in Panama, would you say that the city versus maybe a more rural place is better for people wanting to come and start a business?
Definitely the city is way better to start a
Okay.
business. It's ruthless, but yeah, it's better.
It's better. And I know like you have so many like business adventures. You have your website, a YouTube channel, and you have many events going on. In terms of like your experience, what has been like challenges for you in terms of setting up your business? Like, how did you go about it all in terms of the legal stuff as well? Did you find it easy, you being Panamanian as well? Do you think it was easier for you, or more or less the same as everyone else would have it?
Well, as far as like the paperwork, having things like done on paperwork, it was a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie.
Is it because you're Panamanian?
Right, because I
Okay.
don't have to like show a passport and a social security number and all these
Okay.
other
Yeah, yeah.
things because I am Panamanian. I do everything as a Panamanian because I am Panamanian. But as far as the ruthlessness, no one's
It's not
exempt.
the same.
No one's exempt from the ruthlessness.
And when you say ruthlessness, what do you mean by that? Do you generally think it's like such a hard process for people?
You want to be honest or you want to be
Honest, tell me. Like how does it differ? Like when you say that word, like people be like, "What? What does she mean?"
Well, I mean, you have to have your ducks in a row and you have to know what type of people you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of scammers out here.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's not scammers in America, because there are scammers in America, but the government has things in place that if you are scammed, there are things that you can do to protect yourself from that. Unfortunately, here, as much as I love Panama, okay, yo adoro a Panama, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. But because of past government, they allowed people to scam people, and these people got away with it. Okay. I'm sure people are watching this already, probably seen my YouTube channel with the situation that me and my family have been going through for the past almost 10 years, and we're still going through it because I'm a fighter. I think that if somebody else was in my shoes, they would have been like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Just forget it. They would have took the loss. But I'm a fighter, and I just can't see someone scamming my parents, my family out of hard work, because my parents came from the bottom of the bottom. They're from Colon. They weren't given a golden spoon. You understand what I'm saying? Son hijos de la cocinera. That's the saying here. They are children of the cooker. Okay, what I mean? So they came from Colon, Calle 13 y Central. And so if anybody knows anything about Colon, they know where Calle 13 y Central is. Okay? They came from the bottom of the bottom. My great grandparents were Jamaicans. They came to Panama to build a canal. So they weren't given anything. Whatever they got was through hard work. So I can't see myself allowing someone to scam my family out of their hard-earned work money, hard-earned money that they worked with sweat and tears, and just take it, and it's just like
amounts to nothing, because that's not true, is it?
Oh well, we took your money and that's it. I'm sorry, that's not gonna sit well with me. But I'm also a fighter. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn girl.
She's a Brooklyn girl.
I'm a Brooklyn girl. So it's no like that I see. But anyway.
Wow, this just hearing that, like you're just going like how you're just able to just constantly be resilient. like going through all of this. Now, you've touched on obviously your business, like growing up as a young Panamanian as well. One thing that I want to like focus on as well is you came to Panama with your family. Not a lot of people do that. Like some people say she's uprooted her life and she's moved. Like, what's going on? Like, even when I came to Panama, my sisters were like, "Are you sure? Oh, I don't know about this." One of my sisters were like, "I don't know about this." You
Yeah,
know,
we do
people
that.
people get nervous for you. But how was your experience in coming to Panama with your family, your young children?
Well, at the time, I only had my son,
Okay.
and his father, of course, was sad because he's like, he wants to be there every day to be around his son, but he also seen the climate
What's going
of what was
on?
going
Yeah.
on in the United States, and it was just like, do I want to lose my son to the streets, or do I give my son an opportunity to be a child? And so we had worked out like a whole not a custody thing, but like a
An arrangement, I guess.
arrangement
Yeah.
where he would see him in the summertime and et cetera, et cetera. Now my son is 14. When he came here, he was for like permanently, he was 4. He's 14
10
now.
years.
Yeah. But
Wow.
before that, he would come every single summer to stay
Okay,
with my
yeah.
parents. But permanently, like going to school, he's been here since he was 4.
Wow.
He's 14 now, going on 15. And as he got older, he has his, teenagers. They're like, he doesn't want to go to the US. He wants to know nothing about the US. When I'm like, hey, do you want to go? No, I got a lot of stuff going
I'm
on
good
here.
at Panama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where he stands now. And then when I had my daughter was born here though. She's only 2, so I mean, she doesn't know anything else right now. This is all
Yeah.
she knows. But like I said, my experience, because I've lived in the States, I feel like here, the school system, for me, my kids
Yeah.
are in private school also, so I have to be clear because somebody else might disagree and say something else.
Yeah.
I've had a positive experience when it comes
So
to
the school
school, the
systems are
system,
good here.
the private school system, the
Yeah.
schools that I have my kids in. I have no complaints.
Yeah.
I have no complaints. The only thing I complain about is the WhatsApp groups. But other than that,
I've never heard of WhatsApp
Jesus, these WhatsApp groups are crazy. The mom groups is like they
Oh,
need to go
the mom
off.
group.
I have to like mute them because every minute they're like, okay, what are we doing tomorrow? And the cake now, and this and this.
Yeah.
That's the activities. That's the only thing. There's always an activity. But, I guess that's like a good
That's
thing,
a good thing, though.
right? The parents are very involved,
Yeah.
right? Versus in the States, I didn't really get that.
You didn't get that sense of.
No.
So you've actually like in your own way you found your sense of community. Obviously you have family here
Mhm.
anyways, but you still like found that sense of community. Your kids are really comfortable here. They're enjoying life here. They don't want to know anything about the
No.
States or anywhere else.
Oh, no.
As well, like you've been here for like so many years. You've seen the growth of this country, the economic structural changes, the city, I can imagine.
Girl.
You've gone through COVID, like you've gone through so many things. Can you talk about like some of that stuff, especially COVID? Like, what was that like for you?
Oh my God. COVID was crazy. Like, we had to shut down our store.
Yeah.
And one of the things that people don't understand, Panama doesn't give you, like in the States, people were getting incentives, they were getting help from the government
Yeah.
for businesses. We didn't get that here.
Okay.
So we had to shut down our businesses, all of them. And I'm like, what are we gonna do? So I had opened up a website, started a website, and we were selling things online. But imagine 4 different stores closing down, and we had to run one website to maintain all 4 of those stores.
Yeah.
So it was hard. We got through it. We're still as of right now still feeling the effects of COVID. We didn't get any handouts. The government did not help us out. We were in the mall. The mall was closed, and the mall still expected us to pay the rent.
Wow.
Okay, even though we weren't allowed to get, we weren't. We
You
the
were,
malls were closed.
yeah.
So there was no one coming in the stores in the malls, but the mall still expected us to pay the rent, and the government never stepped in. They never like were like, you can't nothing.
That's really absurd to hear, honestly, because it's like
Yeah.
what compared to like the US getting, some other countries were getting, maybe you'd think that you'd be helped out a bit. So
No.
that's so interesting to hear that
No.
that was your experience in
And
Panama.
yeah, we're still going through it. And then like, so the banks, they were like, okay, well, they were going to defer people's loans.
Wow.
They were going to defer people's loans while through COVID
Yeah.
up until, let's say, like a certain date. But you got to remember, a lot of people still weren't working
Yeah.
around that time.
Yeah.
Panama was not equipped to go virtual for a lot of things because they were still, you know, what you see Panama today is not what Panama was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so people were still very much behind,
Yeah.
right? So people still weren't working from home. It was a time when people were like trying to become a little bit more computer savvy and things like
Tech
that.
savvy,
And
stuff
tech
like that.
savvy,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of people were not working. A lot of people lost their jobs. So
Yeah.
people weren't spending their money like that.
Yeah.
The government was giving something called a bono solidario, and that was like $100 per person. I didn't get anything, right? We were living off our savings. When we decided to close down the store in the mall wouldn't even allow us to take out our merchandise to move unless we gave them $5,000.
That's shocking.
It
5,000.
$5,000, or else they would have confiscated our stuff.
That is
in the
just so
middle of
different.
COVID.
Yeah, when everyone's already going through a lot.
We went through it. And
Wow.
so, I'm a very honest person. I'm
Yeah.
a candid person. I know on the outside, when people see my social media, they think, oh my God, like everything is together. We're still going through it right now.
Yeah.
We're still trying to like
Pick up the pieces.
pick up the pieces,
Yeah.
Still pick up the pieces. We're still trying to pick up the pieces. And throughout it, you know what? I don't complain about it because I feel like God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle.
Yeah.
And this is just a roadblock.
Mm.
But once we get out of it, it'll be a learning experience.
Yeah.
Those L's will turn into wins.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, listening to this story, people are probably going to be like, well, why are you still in Panama? Because there's still so much more positive
Exactly.
things.
That's positive.
And there's nothing in this life is perfect. Nothing is perfect. And for me and my personal situation, the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
Even with all the negative, the good still outweighs the bad for me.
Especially what I can hear is like your for you, from what I'm hearing is like it's so important that your children have a good quality of life and they're getting that. That's a positive.
Exactly.
You're getting like, whilst you, like you said, you're going through so many things, you're still getting so many perks whilst being here.
Exactly.
It's such a beautiful country. Like you go to so many different places in Panama. And it's like, you can be in Panama, but then you can go to a different part of Panama and it feels like, oh, I feel like I'm somewhere else.
Exactly.
Because the culture is just so vibrant. The people are so amazing. I remember when I came, especially in Bocas del Toro.
Oh, I love
It's
Bocas.
just like, it was so weird for me because it's like, my mom's from Barbados. It felt like I was in Barbados, but they were speaking Spanish and my head just couldn't understand it. So
yeah, and they speak patois also.
Okay, so is it like a Spanish patois?
No,
okay. So I learned something new. But like for me, it was like so weird because I'm like, this is Panama, and people don't know this until they experience it. And like your story is just teaching people that you definitely need to come with an open mind to places because you don't know what opportunities you can get unless you've experienced it, right?
Exactly.
You don't know that, and I'm sure you've experienced that way more. You've been here way longer. You've experienced so many different things. Like, for people who are coming to Panama, maybe not sure about if it's for them, like, what advice do you give to them?
So I don't force anybody to do anything, right? I just share my personal experiences, and people can make their own judgment based on that, right? But one of the most important things is to have an open mind and leave the American mindset in America.
Leave it behind. Leave the baggage.
What I've experienced with other, and I can say this about me too.
Yeah.
Right? America makes people very spoiled. And we want things like this.
Now, yeah.
Right now, right? And so a lot of people come here with the same mentality that they want it right now. They want everything right now. And it's not like that here.
Yeah.
You really got to just live in the moment. And you also have to like take the initiative to, if you want to get certain things done, you have to follow up, because you will go to tell the cable company, you call the cable company, they say they're coming in tomorrow and they may not even show up. You have to have
It's
a
true.
lot of patience.
Have a lot of
You have a lot of
patience,
patience.
especially legal sides as well. You have to
Oh,
have,
yeah.
you have to have a lot of patience. I've
Yeah.
experienced it.
Yeah. Look, they spelled my daughter's. They put my daughter's name wrong. When she was born on her birth certificate, they put a suffix. So Panama does not use suffix,
Okay, yeah.
right? And so her name is Gia, whatever.
Yeah.
Her father's last name is whatever the third, because he's
Okay.
the third generation of the person with the same last name. Here in Panama, they don't use that. Your name is just your name.
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm thinking, okay, everybody knows that, right? They put the third on her birth certificate.
Oh, no.
It took a year and a half for me to get it off. I spoke to an attorney about it. The attorney was like, "Oh, that's going to cost so much in the process. You might as well just leave it like that." I said, "No, that's not going to stay like that. That is. I told you I'm a fighter. I went to the very last drop. Even I spoke to it was like the president. Yes, I went to the president, and then that's how I ended up getting it off. And now her name
Wow.
is fake. It took me a year
And how? A year and a half
year
just
and
to
a
get that
half
off.
just to get that
To
third
get
off.
something you didn't put on her birth certificate off.
Yes.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So,
And you have to continuously follow up.
because it's that relaxed mentality.
They had it stored in like a box. When they had to go back to look for it, it was like in a box. And I'm like, hello?
You could have dealt with that already. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only thing. Like you have to come with an open mind.
Yeah.
You have to constantly keep on following up. You can't just lay back and just think that someone is getting done.
Yeah.
Because it's not that way.
This is yeah. So you've heard it from Vanessa herself. If you want something done in Panama, follow it up. Come with an open mind.
Mhm.
Panama is an amazing place, but it has its challenges too.
It is. But like I said, as far as my kids are concerned, raising my children, I don't have to worry about my kids getting killed going to school.
That's a sad reality.
I don't have my son has friends that are Asian, Venezolano, Colombiano, Panamanian, Korean, Russian.
Wow. It's like a mix, isn't it? Everything.
He had a group of friends, what I love when the parents take them out to, like, he has a really, really good friend. The father, the parents will take them away for, like, they'll go to the interior for the summer on vacation.
Yeah.
And they'll send me the pictures, and I'm like, wow, this is just an array of shades of color.
And it's like sometimes, like these, when you think back at, if I stayed home, would I have gotten this?
He wouldn't, because where I'm from is a predominantly Black area.
Yeah.
So he would only have just Black friends.
Yeah.
How do you really know about life if you only have one group of friends, right? You have to get to know different people, different cultures. That's what makes the world a beautiful thing. And that's what's amazing about Panama. Exactly. I was shocked when I came to Panama. I didn't realize how diverse it was. So it's just really cool hearing that. So as well as that, like, I think if people are worried about themselves, their kids, not being able to find diversity in Panama, you're going to be shocked because it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. So that's just really cool you said that. But and just one last thing. So we've gone through, I've just briefly touched on your business. Can you just tell us more about that? Because I know you do so many things, your events, YouTube channel. Can you tell us more about that? You know about the store. It's called Pretty Image Boutique. We have 4 locations, one in Colon, one in San Miguelito, en la Gran Estación, one in Los Pueblos, and the other one is in Los Andes Mall. Okay. Outside of that, I also host events. One of the events, the most popular event that I host, is called Rum and Brunch. Okay. So what I realized, and the reason why I started Rum and Brunch, was because of YouTube. Everybody would message me and say, hey, I'm in Panama, where can we go? And there really wasn't a space that was for Caribbean culture. If you know the history of Panama, you know that Caribbean culture, Afro-Caribbean people are just as important and just part of Panamanian culture as of any other culture, right? But there was no space. Yeah. You could go to a club in Caco Viejo and they're going to play a mashup of everything. but there was no specific place where people could go just to listen to Afro-Caribbean music. Not saying that it's only for Afro-Caribbean people, but a space where people can come and listen to hip hop, reggae, dancehall, soca, compa, which is Haitian music,
okay.
R&B. There was no space specifically for
For
that.
that,
For that. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do a day party. The first one that I had 175 people,
Wow.
and at the time I had it in. It's closed now, but it was the museum, the reggae museum.
Okay, I've known.
It was in Cascoviejo. That was the
Okay.
first one that I had. The second one, the first experience was crazy. It was crazy, you know. But we went through it. The second one, I had it there again. And then I realized we had to do a couple of switching up. And I went through several places till I finally found the perfect place, which I have it now, was in Marbella, because it used to be in Costco.
Okay.
The problem with Costco is that rum and brunch is for tourists and for local people. It's a fusion because it's supposed to create an atmosphere for Afro-Caribbean people from here in Panama as well as from outside to connect. And for you to meet people that you won't necessarily meet ever. Because if you go to Costco, Costco is a predominantly tourist area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a local person wouldn't really technically mix with a tourist.
And in
they
the same
wouldn't,
sense, yeah.
But at my events, they do. I've had people have lifetime connections with people that they met at my event.
Yeah.
They develop new friendships with people that may live in Trinidad, for example, and they're from Panama, and they make connection.
Yeah.
And I have people from all over the world that come to Rum and Brunch. I have people from St. Martin, Guyana, Trinidad, Miami, Atlanta, New York, Jamaica. People from Jamaica that fly out just to come
Just
to
for that.
for my event. There was one. What's the name of this place? Turks and Caicos.
Okay, yes.
Turks and Caicos, and then I have people from Colon, people from the city. So it's just a mashup of all different type of people that love Afro-Caribbean culture, because my parents, like I said, my great-grandparents were from Jamaica. And so when I grew up, my mom spoke patois to us.
Yeah.
So I grew up listening to Bob Marley. I grew up listening to reggae music, Tabu Combo, which is, if you're a Panamanian, you know who Tabu Combo is. Tabu Combo is a Haitian band, right? They sing compa. Okay. Soca music. There were certain songs that we grew up with, especially if you're from areas like Rio Bajo, which is predominantly Afro-Caribbean people that live there, that's from there. If you're from Bocas del Toro, Afro-Caribbean people that are from there. Colon, Afro-Caribbean people that are from there as well. And so if you're from these places, your parents are from these places, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so from there, it started with the 175 and it dropped down, and then it started picking up again.
Yeah, surely.
This last Sunday, we had about 150 people.
Wow.
Half of those people were tourists.
Yeah.
The other half were people, natives from right here.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for a good time, you're looking for amazing food, because the menu isn't something that you're ever gonna get here in Panama. Come to Rum and Brunch. You can follow Rum and Brunch on Instagram at Rum and Brunch PTY on Instagram.
Yeah.
And in Spanish, Rum y Brunch. It's Rum and Brunch PTY. I usually, all my promotion is really just in English.
Yeah.
It's not in Spanish. And you know what? People from Panama still come.
They still come.
People assume that because it's in English, that no one's going to come. People speak English here. I don't know why people think that people in Panama don't speak English. There are many people that speak English, and people who you would never believe.
And certain communities and so on.
That speak English. Yeah. Listen, there was an India that was speaking English, and I was like, okay. People speak English.
You can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, you really can't.
Yeah. You cannot. And so, my promotion, everything I do is in English. And people still, let me tell you something. When I came with the idea of Rum and Brunch, somebody told me that it was not going to work. They said, I'm sorry, you can't do that. That's not going to work. That's not going to work in Panama. I'm like, why? I'm like, oh no, because in Panama, they like to listen in blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, but you can go to any club in Panama and listen to that music.
Yeah.
The whole purpose is to have something completely different.
Yeah.
Who I'm marketing to It's people that enjoy that type of music.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They told me that it wasn't going to work. Obviously, they were wrong because it's working.
It's working.
Right? And that's why I'll just give this advice to people. When you have a vision, only you know that vision.
Exactly.
Right? And sometimes you can't tell people what your vision is because they won't understand it. And they would try to make you not, or try to deter you.
They'll try to make it smaller as well.
Vision,
Yeah.
or they'll try to belittle you and make you feel like, oh, you can't do it.
Yeah.
But I would always say to people, stick to your dreams, have a plan. You're going to take losses, but amidst those losses, there's going to be a win.
Yeah.
And the moment that you feel like you want to give up, that is exactly when things are going to take off.
That's when you need to push it, right?
I am a living example of that. There were many times that I cried, right? I know I have this tough exterior where people think I don't have emotion, but I do cry, right? There was a moment where I felt like I wanted to give up. I couldn't do this no more. The people that's in my team can attest to this. I've gotten a lot of hate from people, which comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Okay. Event planning is worse than drug dealing. It
Wow.
seems like. Okay. I had a lot of hate, but through it all, I wouldn't change it for anything in this world.
Yeah.
Because every negative situation that I've ever gone through, it set me up for something positive.
Yeah.
Doing rum and brunch, I have experienced a lot of setbacks, but those setbacks set me up for comebacks.
Oh,
You
hear that, guys? That was deep.
And I'm not even gonna lie to you. I could go into stories on how every negative situation. Sometimes, I don't know if people believe in God, but I believe in God, right? I honestly feel like sometimes God will put blockings in your life to help you. Okay.
Like a learning curve, right?
Yeah. Because sometimes, like, I was in situations where I'm like, why did this happen? Why is this happening to me? And then after, I'm like, oh, okay.
That's you learn from it, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is why this happened to me, right? Every negative situation put me in a situation to make more money.
Yeah.
And the money I can use to help other people. And
Yeah.
I give opportunities to other people. And that's another thing. When God gives you, you have to help
Give back. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Outside of that, I also do an obra.
Okay. And what is that in English?
It's like a give back.
Okay.
So every year, and because when I was younger, my parents would always send me to Colon. I always set up a donation where people, my subscribers, can send money, and I buy gifts for children in Colon.
Wow.
And I have a huge party.
Yeah.
And I love having parties, right? So when I have these parties for these kids, I have these parties like I'm having parties for my own kids. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a bouncy house, cotton candy machine, popcorn machine. We have pizza. We have the whole 9 yards.
And anyone can just come and
anyone can come in, right? And I get so much donations from people, and I also show everybody the receipt.
Yeah.
Right? Because I want to make sure everybody sees where their money is going.
Yeah.
I also record it, not because I want anyone to be like, oh my gosh, she's doing an amazing thing. No, because I want people to see where their money is going.
Yeah.
And we have parties for Christmas, and I give away toys. Right? And so that's one of the things. It's called Navidad en Colon, Christmas in Colon.
In Colon, yeah.
And this is going to be the 3rd year.
Wow, 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so inspirational. Literally just hearing all of that stuff. Like you're just slowly building your own empire, right? It sounds like slowly. But yeah, like just hearing that story and hearing your experiences, how you've overcome all these challenges, like I've learned something. I know people watching this, they're gonna learn something for sure. And as well as this, you've done it all whilst raising your 2 young kids, and you're still doing more things. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. It was amazing hearing like your truly authentic experience. That's refreshing. It was so refreshing to hear, honestly, and people can just take what they need, what they want from this, and like Vanessa said, guys, come to Panama with an open mind, and her experiences is literally a testament to her hard work, and as well as that, the opportunities that Panama can give you.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So definitely stay tuned for more videos coming. And thank you so much,
Thank you for
Vanessa.
having me.
Thank you.
I hope I wasn't too wrong.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on Life Abroad Panama. You can find us on all major podcast platforms. Curious about our guests? Just click the links. Looking for legal support? Reach us through our website. And make sure to watch more videos or check out your visa requirements.